welcome back to today's video. So we have a tinted moisturizer foundation showdown today, and this is actually a drugstore edition. So there have been two trending tinted moisturizers I've been seeing and I've been currently testing. So the other day I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do a little battle. I feel like a lot of people would want to see these two go toe to toe. So we have the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator, which I've been using a ton recently. I've had this for about a month, and this one has hyaluronic acid and squalane. And then we also have the new Essence Pretty Natural Tinted Hydrating Foundation with Hyaluron and Aloe Vera. So I took it into my own hands to compare these two and do a side-by-side and application and see which one I liked better. Both of these foundations are super affordable. They're under $7. You can get them at Ulta. Get to subscribe to my channel if you love beauty, affordable beauty, shop with me's haul. Get to also turn on that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. I upload tons of content every single week, so let's get to it. So I'm gonna do the Essence Pretty Natural Hydrating Foundation on this side and the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator. It's called Tinted Skin Veil, and this actually also has hyaluronic acid, and this one has squalane. So I'm very excited to see how these compare. The shade I have in the Essence is 40 Neutral Vanilla. Wet n Wild, I do have medium tan. The shades are kind of close. I feel like the Wet n Wild one is slightly leans a little bit more pink. For primer, I have been testing out the Wet n Wild Impossible Primer, and I do really like this. It is a silicone-free primer. Actually, is interesting. It feels like a silicone-based primer, but it's not. Guys, I was listening to the One Direction album when I was in the shower before. What was it called? I think it's called 4. It's so good. I'm gonna first go in with a brush and see how that is, and then we can always go in with the sponge. I do have one here, and see how it blends out on top. But with tinted moisturizers, I do like to use a brush so I get a bit more coverage. And I didn't fall in love right away, so when that's the case, I like to try things a few more times, a few different ways with different primers. See, like, okay, maybe that was just the first time, because you can easily change your mind about something. Like, I did not like it. I was just like, oh, what's the big deal kind of thing. Like, I felt like I needed to test it again because they are both so raved about right now, and both drugstore and affordable. I like it better this time. And it just goes to show you, different primers have different effects with foundations depending on what's in the primer. Is it a water-based primer? Is it a silicone-based primer? And then what is the foundation? Is that foundation silicone-based? Is the foundation water-based? All those things matter when you're combining primers and foundations. So that being said, you want to have like ingredients so it doesn't separate on the skin. I feel like that actually covered really nicely. Look at my nose. You can see the redness here on my nose and then where I covered, because I'm doing, trying to do half. Looks really good. Forehead looks good. That's something I'm very conscious about. So I don't cross-contaminate, I'm just gonna go in with another brush. I was using the Beauty Junkies Flat Top Kabuki. This is a really nice brush. And now I'm gonna use a Beaky blender, which is just a brush you can get on Amazon. This one I have really been liking. I wore it yesterday and I loved the way it looked. The Essence actually dried down to a nice like satin finish. It's not too shiny, which I like. God, the colors aren't too far off. I will definitely say Wet n Wild shade that I got, it is more of a deeper shade. Definitely more glowy, the Wet n Wild, than the Essence. Right now, I'm actually preferring the finish of the Essence because it's more satin, whereas this one's like super glowy. Like, I would definitely have to set that down, which is fine. Like, I do not mind setting down a glowy foundation. I feel like this side, because it's so much more glowy, I have larger pores and oily skin, so I feel like because it's so glowy, I feel like you can see my pores more. I obviously like don't have perfect skin, so I feel like someone who does have perfect skin is gonna have a different opinion on this than me. But if you have a similar skin type to me, I hope this is helpful for you guys. Like, I don't have that like baby butt smooth skin where like every foundation looks perfect, but in a way I feel like that's helpful because I'm assuming a lot of you guys also have large pores like me. So I'm kind of like a good judge for that. People really do have that baby butt skin, I'm telling you. I've seen it in person. Like, some of my girlfriend beauty bloggers have beautiful skin. Like Natalie from #FabLife, she has beautiful, like, no pores. I was like, oh my gosh, your skin is so beautiful. And I like my skin, you guys. I'm not saying anything bad about my skin. I have learned to love my skin. I'm really happy with where it is. Like, I don't get breakouts only during the time of month. So I'm like not hating on my skin. I'm just saying, like, I don't have the baby butt poreless skin. Interesting, because I for sure thought I was gonna say the Wet n Wild one would have won side by side. But I mean, I don't know, I kind of like the Essence one because it's a little bit more matte. But I do still really like the coverage of the Wet n Wild. Both actually really nice coverage. Especially this one, it says sheared medium. I'm like quite impressed. If you have more acne prone skin, this isn't going to give you that coverage that you want. More like an everyday lightweight, and they both feel very weightless, which I like. I do not like that very heavy makeup feeling. I'm covered, but it's not thick. I'm gonna go on top with the sponge because I want to see how that is. So I'm just gonna take the Essence foundation and go on top. This is something I also like to do just like on the daily too. Go in with a brush and then add a little bit more product with the sponge, because then you're gonna get a super beautiful like airbrushed look to the skin, or close to airbrushed. Also CEO of leaky nose. Forever have a leaky nose. I think it's just a hereditary thing. My grandma had it, my mom's mom had it. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the same for, that looks good. I'm gonna do the same now for the Wet n Wild. Just add a little bit on the sponge and then just go over it. Just pat on. This is damp, by the way. You always wanna make sure your beauty blender is damp. I don't know how people use it dry. It's like, I'm always shocked if someone says, oh, I use it dry. I'm like, wait, what? No, you're supposed to actually make it damp. That's how it works. Ooh, I actually really like this better with the sponge on top. I feel like it took down that shine. So highly recommend going in with a flat top brush first, then adding a little bit of product with the sponge and then tapping over it, because I feel really, really like good about the coverage right now. I'm actually liking both of them. I mean, this one, like, even though it's a little darker, I feel like I can kind of make them both work because I am slightly more tan right now, not too much. Be silly and do like an Essence and a Wet n Wild concealer. Maybe I'll do that. I'm gonna add this Maybelline brightener. I've really been liking this recently. And with the Wet n Wild Incognito concealer, I do love this concealer. It's a favorite. I have the shade Light Beige. I think I got this at Five Below, and you can still get it there because I did see it. So I like to go on the side of my nose and then I go up like that. It's been so fun just trying out some new makeup techniques. Like yesterday I did the reverse cat eye. I don't know if I filmed a video of myself with that on. I did like a little TikTok on it. So make sure you're following me on TikTok, because stuff that I post there, you sometimes won't see here, like different makeup looks. So it's just my name. I think it's just kimberlymichbeauty. And I'll also link my TikTok down below. The Incognito one just blends flawlessly and it pairs really beautiful with the Tinted Hydrator. This concealer, I don't have like a in love relationship with it. The Essence Camouflage Plus Matte Concealer. It's decent. But let's see. I feel like I always try and use it and then I'm like, oh, I don't know if I love it. While I feel like this concealer is a bit more brightening underneath the eye, like, I don't think it looks bad. I think it did cover up my dark circles. I do feel like it is definitely slightly more dry than the Incognito. I would definitely say get the Incognito concealer. I haven't used this in a bit, so the Too Faced Peach Perfect powder. What I do is I take a flat foundation brush like this, and I will just press that powder into the skin. So literally press it in. And I bring it on the side of my nose as well. So press, press, press it in. Instead of the traditional baking where you're leaving the powder there. This friggin' chair is so squeaky, I can't. The CoverGirl Clean Fresh from the drugstore has been one of my favorites. It is very similar to the number 7 powder, which I also love. This is the shade Light. What I like to do is I will pick some up on the sponge and then roll it into the skin. So I like to go like underneath the contour area, the chin, and then press it into the forehead. And this has such a beautiful effect on the skin. Oh my gosh, like when you press it into your pores and it just literally makes your pores blur away. It's magical. You guys need this. I'm still in awe about the coverage of both of these for being lighter tinted moisturizers. This ain't your old school tinted moisturizer. This stuff is good. Like these are really, really good. Like medium coverage foundations are just like different these days than they used to be, or from what I remember. You guys are wondering what's on my eyes because I don't think I shared yet. I'm wearing 2 palettes. I like to mix sometimes. So this is the main palette I'm wearing. It's the Venus 3 from Lime Crime, and I have this shade on the lid, Beam. I have Bliss and Dreamy in the crease, and then on the outer corner I took the She Glam from Shein Spring It On palette, and I used this in the outer corner. I love purples and berry tones together. Okay, so I'm gonna go do my brows, and then I will come back and like do face with you guys because I think that will be kind of fun to do together. Alright guys, so I am just on my phone camera right now so I can show you before I put anything else on what the foundation looks like. So we have the, what side is this? The Essence side, and then the Wet n Wild. I was like, you know what, let me just show you guys a little close-up so you can see better before I go in with like contour and blush and stuff. So here's how we're looking. So for contour, I'm going to use my Physicians Formula Sculpting Bronzer. This is in Mocha. I haven't used this one in a bit. This is definitely like a thicker kind of contour, cream contour. Like, what am I saying? And I'm just going to blend this in. I haven't used this also in a hot minute. My Tati blender thingy. I forgot that I liked this. Too many people come out with something like this for blending. Ooh, I really like this bronzer. I feel like that just made my cheekbones like whoop, made them pop. See, and this is Promise palette, so I'm just gonna take 2 different shades. So I'm gonna pick up this one and blend them together and just pack that over. I'm using this other like little Tati sponge. I don't know how this is gonna come out, but go ahead and clean up your contour. There's a lighter shade in here. You just kind of go like that. 2 shades. This is from the Makeup by Denise palette. Brings out the cheekbone. Super, super pretty. For blush, I'm gonna go into this LA Girl Just Blushing. I haven't used this in such a long time. It is a really pretty color though, like has some gold sheen, shimmer, glitter, whatever you want to call it to it. Like when you look at it in here, it does have a chunkier glitter, but it doesn't come off on the cheeks. It just comes off like a sheen when you put it on. There's actually another shade of this that I want. It's like a peachy shade, so I have to go grab that at, I think they have it at CVS and Ulta. Benefit Professional Super Setter Spray. Is One Click Beauty lip liner. It's like a brown shade. This is from Amazon. Funny story about this brand, but it's not something I can really tell on camera. But I like this lip liner. Oh, I love that color. It looks crazy at first, but when you blend it it looks good. And I do need to put some lip balm on. This is Oh Teddy from LA Colors, one of my absolute favorite new. I talk about it all the time. Then I'm going to top that with the iconic London Lip Plumping Gloss in Lovestruck. Has like a minty feel to it. It's pretty color. Alright guys, so I finished up my makeup and here we are. We tested out both of these guys. Essence on this side and Wet n Wild on this side. Honestly, really like both of them. I would say they are very similar to one another when your makeup is done. I think you see the difference in the initial application. Like you saw, the Wet n Wild one was a lot glowier, whereas the Essence one was a little more matte. I mean, I definitely still think that the Essence side is still more matte even with my makeup on, and the Wet n Wild one is slightly more dewy. I really like both. I think it's gonna depend on your skin type. I do feel like this side with the Essence looks a bit more flawless because it didn't have that initial glowiness to it, but I don't know, the Wet n Wild side still looks really good. So I think you can't go wrong with either. Right now I'm gonna give the edge to Essence, which I'm shocked because yesterday I was like, oh, I don't really like it. I like the Wet n Wild one better, but doing them side by side was like a game changer. $4.99. Essence one, which is dripping on me, is $6.99, and you get 1.01 fluid ounces. The Essence one has more shade options, especially for deeper skin tone girls. The Wet n Wild shade range kind of sucks. Like there's literally, it's like medium, deep, and deep. I was just looking on the website. So I really hope they're gonna add more shades to their line because that would totally stink if they didn't. I can't even know how frustrating it is to be able to go to the store and not be able to find my foundation shade, especially if it's like a foundation you're really excited about. So Wet n Wild definitely needs to step up their shade range game. Okay guys, so I am just on my phone camera right now showing you what we look like in natural daylight. So I mean, come on, these look so good. So just as a reminder, this is the Essence side and this is the Wet n Wild side. I honestly really like both. I mean, let me know what you guys think, but I feel like my skin looks so good. Oh, what do you think? I don't know. I feel like these are amazing and I cannot believe how stinking affordable they are. Like you don't even need to get a expensive foundation because these just, no, they're so good. So let me know what you guys think, which one is your favorite, or if you like both. So I will do a check-in a little later after I've worn them for a couple hours. I'm gonna go run a couple errands and come back, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Hey guys, so it is about 6:30 right now. I've had the foundations on for a little bit now, so I wanted to check in. We're not going to discuss the disaster that is my forehead right now. I have issues with contouring on my forehead. I told you guys it gets really patchy, so just ignore that. Let's focus on like the cheek and the chin area and how we are looking. You guys, look how pretty. So both look good. I will say the Wet n Wild side does look a little bit shinier, just a little bit. It still looks beautiful, but I will say in comparison with the two, I mean, they're really close. It's kind of crazy how close they are. But I do really love the Essence side. But the Wet n Wild's holding up really nice too. Let's do a little close up. I feel like you can see everything nice on my phone camera. Again, ignore. This is like, looks like a bad suntan. Look how pretty. I just feel like my skin looks so nice. That's my check-in. I will check in with you guys probably before I take this off. What do you think? Essence, Wet n Wild. So I'm gonna go take out my contacts and make dinner and stuff, and I'll see you guys at the end of the night. Okay guys, it is literally 12:45 at night, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to film my final check-in because I was about to take this makeup off, and I'm being a little quiet because Nick is sleeping and I don't want to be too loud. So you guys, honestly, I think it still looks really good, both sides. Let me take my glasses off. So of course I have, you know, like glasses marks, but I think it held up really well. Again, minus the disaster that is my forehead that I tried to contour, but chin wore off because I was just doing work on my computer, editing, and I was holding onto my chin. So, I mean, if you're going to be touching your face, it's not really going to last, obviously, because you can see it wore off here. But I feel like both sides look good. They kind of wore the same, to be quite honest. Like, I also feel like I don't look shiny. Like, I don't look like a grease ball. Here's what we're looking like. Look a little questionable over here. Kind of like settled into my pores there. So, decent wear. Decent wear. I mean, it's probably not going to be your most long wearing foundation because it is more of a tinted moisturizer. But I am overall very happy with both of these, and I would recommend both. I think they're amazing options. Either one if you like a medium coverage foundation, and I'm definitely going to wear both of them again. I think I am leaning a little bit more towards the Essence because I liked how it was a little bit more matte. So I hope you enjoyed this foundation tinted moisturizer head-to-head review and try on all day wear session. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you're going to try either of these foundations out. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!